And from the death of flame and ash, the phoenix emerges, and a new life is observed. Once again, we are looking at a coin from Anguilla. Does this coin erase the sins of the past, or is this coin once again gonna let us down in a minting error for the ages? Find out today as we assess this coin and see if it's right for your collection here on the Culture of Currency. This is my third coin from Anguilla. The first still makes me angry, as the wrong species was chosen to represent a beautiful nation. The second coin featured a safe yet unimpressive image of the coat of arms, and yet today we have the third installment in this beautifully done eel coin. This feels like a Caribbean coin in the fit and finish, but we need to dive deeper as I have stumbled upon something that should be considered a serious design/minting error once again. Our focus is this eel. Everything on this coin looks great, don't get me wrong, but when researching what kind of eel this is so that I could understand the importance this species should have to a local population, I was baffled. There are 10 or so species of eel that are known to live in the area of the Lesser Antilles where we find Anguilla. Anguilla is mostly comprised of moray eels, but there are a couple of garden eels and snake eels, but we do not have an eel that looks like what we have on this coin. Snake eels have beautiful patterns often on their skin, and many have a dorsal fin up above the head. Their mouth is also a different shape completely. Now we have the garden eel. These burrowing eels live in burrowed holes and also retreat into the sand after being startled. No eel I could find represented the eel we're looking at until I ran across this species. Take a look at this eel. Not only does this eel look like our featured friend, its scientific name, its genus and species, is Anguilla anguilla. What does that mean? That means we must have found our host species. This is great news, except the common name for this eel is the European eel. I've checked the habitation, and no, it does not live within thousands of miles of the island of Anguilla. You may ask yourself, well, why is Anguilla called Anguilla, and why is the European eel's scientific name Anguilla anguilla? Here's the answer. The word Anguilla comes from the Italian word describing a snake or eel. When cartographers were mapping Anguilla, they thought the island was in the shape of an eel or snake, so they named the island Anguilla. How does this keep happening? It has now been 2 times the Scottsdale Mint, who I love, has disappointed me by making egregious errors representing the nation of Anguilla. 2 times, native people who may see this coin with eyes full of hope of a coin that represents their nation and culture have been let down to see something unrecognizable to their experience. The Scottsdale Mint is constantly putting out designs that I love, but I'm having a hard time with such a big lapse in design. There are plenty of eels that would have been cool to put on this coin, such as the chain-spotted or green moray eels, just to give examples, but someone probably Googled Anguilla eel and got the Anguilla anguilla species and never looked past that initial search. Now that we have my frustrations out of the way, let's grade this coin. On the obverse, we are met with one of the more iconic obverses that cover the EC8 series. The Eastern Caribbean Bank is where the EC of EC8 comes from, whereas the 8 stands for the 8 nations that are in the program, including Anguilla, Antigua and Barbuda, the Commonwealth of Dominica, Grenada, Montserrat, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Lucia, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines. This is a classic yet underwhelming side and always scores a 6. When I'm grading the reverse, I'm grading the overall feel, design, aesthetic, and balance, so whether or not this is a viable species does not detract here, but in cultural significance. Therefore, I must say I really like this design. The way the eels cross path out of frame of the ocean and island depiction is just fantastic. The realism against the playful waves and island create a juxtaposition of balance and visual interest. The concentric circles towards the rim are also delightful, as instead of just choosing lines, they chose what looks like silhouettes of swimming eels. The font even feels just right. This is a fantastic looking back and screams of what I would want from a Caribbean coin, especially if the species was right. I scored a 10. Now we play with Mintage. The EC8 is always a favorite of mine from a Mintage standpoint, as it always is capped at 25,000, which means within a calendar year you have a good shot of finding one, but they are really not produced enough to be in every collection, which helps his value. This scores an 8. Our next category is the Curse of Anguilla in the Scottsdale Mint's Agony Upon My Life. This would have been an all-out perfect 10 if a correct species was chosen. Such a beautiful coin and design. We do, however, still have the really cool depiction of the island and Caribbean feel, so it has some saving grace and scores a 5. Collectibility is next. I'm not sure when the EC8 coins will catch on as collectible or if they will ever be more popular than they are, but this coin is a good step in a better direction. Designs for many of these coins have been rather bland, but this is one of the best designs I have seen, and if this is the trend moving forward, I could see this being a more sought after series, especially with the lower mintage. Therefore I scored a 7. Now we find ourselves at uniqueness. How often do you see an eel on anything other than on ice at fish markets? I did find one from Poland, which is in Europe, and as we take a look we see Anguilla, which gives me a little bit of anxiety. That being said, we have a highly unique coin and theme, and one that I think is deserving of a 10, which brings us to our final score and thoughts. In spite of having a horrendous design error, we land at 46 out of 60, which is really a testament to Mintage and outstanding design. Never in 1,000 years did I think a coin with an error like this would score 46, and yet here I stand looking at a coin that I actually still enjoy seeing. Just look at the difference in the last design error from Anguilla. Both have wrong species, but one of these draws the eye and actually feels like a Caribbean postcard. So do I recommend this coin? Depends. I actually love the way it makes me feel from a Caribbean standpoint, but think beyond passing a personal eye pleasure chest or collecting the EC8 series is the really only reason to dive into this coin. If you are one of those, dive on in. If you are not, just continue to laugh at my tears while you keep staying classy and current with the culture of currency.